What's up everybody, Arrg the Pirate here, and today I'm playing Belica mid lane. As always, let's go over the deck first. I start out with an auto mana potion, a quick exit, and an auto health potion, all at rank 1 gems. I have a rank 7 experience gem, a rank 13 spell burn gem, and then lastly I have overpowered at rank 25. Now my first 3 cards are Font of Experience, Cull of the Weak, and Advanced Evolution. I haven't really decided what I like picking first, other than Font of Experience, out of the other 2. Next I go into Invader Mage, and I do have a Soldier of Fortune, but I don't really play with this all that much. Then I pick up Thaumaturgy, followed by an Atomic Soldier. Then I have a Corrosive Walker, and that really wraps up my build. I did add a Plague Lord, but I have not played with this card yet, and I don't believe I get to in this game either. Now I've played with a very similar deck on almost all casters at this point. Belica is really the last caster that I've tried. I have played with Howie, and I use this same deck with Howie, but I've never really synced up well with Howie. Although he is a great hero, I don't like having that solid escape, and without spending just a ton of time with his knockaway, you know, it can be very tricky to use, actually just utilize that ability very well. And I have noticed his Reign of Doom, or whatever his ultimate's called, it does not do anywhere close to the amount of damage that it used to. So instead of really clearing waves, at that early game to go back to tower or whatever, you kind of just do almost poke damage to minions. So I'm not really fully feeling Howie at the moment, and I would definitely have to spend more time building a deck especially for him. But so far, this deck has worked on almost every caster I've played, or it has worked on every caster. And although I do put Cull of the Weak on, I get rid of that card for my very first card, just because I have been using abilities a lot more to get last hits than I used to, just because, it really seems like this is now a farming game, like I've said many times, and I'm planning on coming out with a video that's kind of like my first week of thoughts, so expect that soon. But I really want to get kind of a baseline deck build for each one of the heroes. Since we are still in that very early stage of version 42, we have a lot of heroes doing kind of crazy odd things. For example, in this match, we have a Greystone that pretty much stays mid lane almost the whole game. And I am going against a Zinx mid lane, but towards the end of version 41, you really started seeing more Zinx play mid lane just because she wasn't utilized well in the off lane going against, when you have the option between Wukong or Greystone. So I am typically seeing her played mid lane, but I have not seen a whole lot of Zinx yet. Unfortunately for her, Belica's probably the worst hero for her to go against, so I do get some pretty decent plays on her during this match, but I did have a lot of fun playing this Belica mid lane. I will kind of get more into the thoughts that I have about version 42. Like I said, I'm planning on making a whole nother video about that, but as of right now, I'm really digging the casters. These burst casters, it's really who can get the farm fastest. And right now, with Font of Experience and Greystone staying in that mid lane, I really outlevel their Zinx pretty rapidly, and I'm really able to do tons and tons of damage to her. I was able to rotate over to our safe lane and pick up this kill on Seraph. I did expect my ult to kill her, and then I knocked her up and put my bomb down, which, you know, typically you want to put your bomb down first, but I was really thinking that those abilities would kill her, but they actually didn't end up doing that, so I still ended up picking up the kill, but I did have to waste a lot more mana, and I put my ultimate on cooldown. I have noticed ultimates that typically used to do a lot of damage at rank 1 have really seemed to kind of fall off. They're not near as strong as they used to be. I don't know if that's just due to the cards, you know, not having power cards at all until, you know, you're a decent ways in. You know, at 5 minutes into the match, I usually had some sort of power card before, and now I don't put on power cards until, you know, maybe 6-7 minutes into the game, depending on how fast I can get back. But I was able to get that kill, so that's great, and I go ahead and throw my drone down to really zap this Zinx from her mana. Now, I'm thinking I'm gonna get this kill, so I chase her a little bit too far, and, you know, it's just really surprising to me how little damage that I'm able to do now. I'm expecting to hit a lot harder, especially at level 6 now. I would think, you know, in the past versions, I would have got that kill fairly easily. But that's okay, I forced her out of lane. That gives me a safe opportunity to head back, and especially with my lane push so far, I'm not worried about taking any tower damage at this point. Now the next few minutes are really a farming game. Of course, I think I've cut all the clips out of Greystone showing up in mid, but he's had a lot of presence in mid lane, so I'm not really able to force a whole lot. Of course, he is a lot lower level than me and the Zinx are, but I'm really just not able to do a whole lot because of, you know, just his presence. Now, I do end up actually getting this kill, which, you know, like I said, it feels like I should be doing more damage with my basics, or maybe hitting a little harder with my abilities, but as you can see, I have no power on at this point, and now that I'm heading back, I'm going to be able to put on my very first power card, and not only is it power, but it does have ability pin, so hopefully that will give me a big damage spike. Now I head back into lane, and of course we're still getting pressure from Greystone and the Zinx, and this is really not allowing me to rotate or anything like that, but I also have noticed it seems like the mid lane tower is the most important tower more than ever in version 42, and so I think having the jungler rotate for mid is way more important than having him save the off lane. Now Kallari does come in, and we are able to get this pretty easy kill on Zinx, and if you see, I hit her with my bomb for half of her health right there. Of course, she didn't have any mana, but that just power spike. Before, I would not have been able to kill her with that bomb, but I did more than half of her health without mana, so that's a substantial boost in damage. Now, Kallari did end up ulting away, which left me alone at this tower. I really would have preferred her staying here and helping with this tower, but she did end up getting a kill and helping out the off lane, so I can't argue with that too much, but I do end up getting ganked by Greystone here. Now, I wasn't sure if he had his ult or not, but the way he's rushing me, I'm sure he does. And without mana, you know, I really couldn't do a whole lot. I might have been able to get out of that if I would have just turned and ran, but I'm pretty sure he would have still towered over me, and that ultimate might have got me anyways. So at least we took his ultimate, we died for it, and died for that significant damage on that mid lane tower, but hopefully we can get a little something, a little more progress here coming up. Now Zinx does end up charging me for whatever reason here in this mid lane, at about 16 minutes in, you know, she was full on mana, full on health, and I'm thinking she probably just thought that me at half health, I wouldn't be able to do anything. But of course, you all know Belica's pretty tough to handle solo, especially if you're a mana-hungry hero. We get the mana, or we get the minion wave advantage. I'm able to throw my drone down, knock her up in the middle of my minions, and hit her with my ultimate and just absolutely erase her with really only getting, you know, one hit of damage out of that entire fight. So that's just kind of a lesson to Zinks out there. Don't charge Belica, she'll kill you. Now, after I kind of cleaned that lane up, I went back to base to just fully recharge since I was out of mana, and I head to mid lane. Now, we already have a significant lane push because the enemy lane, I didn't fully take out all the minions, so it allowed it to stack, and we've got a significant wave here. Kallari, Seraph, and FaZe are all here in mid lane with me, and we're able to delete that Zinks once again, and we're going to go ahead and get this mid tier 2 tower down. Now, Kallari does end up coming in trying to defend this tower, which it was a lost cause at this point. He really just sacrificed himself for nothing, but we go ahead and erase him. Now, I use my ult on him because I can, I guess. I'm not exactly sure. That was a really poor choice on my part, especially with that FaZe showing up there at the end. We might have been able to rotate on her and down her, but that's completely okay. We got 2 kills and a tier 2 tower, so, you know, that was a win on our part. Let's go ahead and back off and, you know, kind of push other lanes. Now, the Seraph ended up staying in for whatever reason, and she pushed all the way up to the inhib. I did not realize that she was going to stay in there, and I actually kind of head back just to make sure that she gets out and stays safe. We do have a safe lane Seraph in this match, which, of course, if y'all have seen my Seraph video from version 41, I don't like melee carries, or melee safe lane carries, and I think it's even more so in version 42. I would much rather her be in safe, or be in jungle, or in the off lane, but that's okay. She ends up getting out, and we're pretty safe about it. Now, at this point in the match, 19 minutes in, I am very fed. Me and Arrg Greystone are the 2 most fed heroes in the match, but if you see here, I still get a fairly easily taken out by Chimera and Greystone. I kind of did my best to survive, get some damage on them. I did throw my drone down and zap most of their mana from them, so hopefully that prevents a death from somebody else, but I did get caught out of position there, and I paid for it. Now, once again, at 21.5 minutes, I'm heading down mid lane, and our Greystone's chasing their Greystone. I set up for a stun, and man, I thought I had it, and I just barely missed it, which is, you know, that's unfortunate, but no big deal. There's never a bad thing when you lose out of a kill. I mean, sure, it'd have been nice to get a kill, but playing the objective is much more important than killing heroes. And there's no sense in chasing that further when we would most definitely die from it. Now, Zinks ended up coming into the mid lane, and Greystone rotated and got a really good gank on her. And me and Greystone combined were able to just absolutely delete her. Which, at this point in the match, Zinks almost has 0 presence, especially in the mid lane. Now, I don't know if that is strictly because I am just such a, you know, I'm the perfect counter pick for a Zinks, or if because Zinks is just not as fed as me, but I did get, you know, a really good counter pick for her, which she actually picked after me, so she counter picked herself, but what can you do? Now, I end up getting that Kallari, but if you see, there was a pretty decent rotation of, you know, 3 people, and I just absolutely got destroyed. the burst damage is now, it really is so much that getting caught out, especially by 2 heroes, is almost a death wish. You know, there is a situation coming up a little later in the match that I'll make sure to show, but I do get caught out, and I was able to take both a Chimera and a Seraph down to about a third health within the time it took them to kill me, and our Kallari was able to ult in one-shot both those heroes. So it's almost, burst damage is kind of the way to go. You want to build, you know, your burst damage casters. I really don't feel that having sustain in the end game, just like in, you know, previous versions of Paragon, if you're building a burst caster, you want to go full burst. You might die very, very easy, but you know, you can do so much damage, it's worth sacrificing your survivability for it. Now, I do head over to the safe lane. Greystone's over there dealing with a Zinx, and, you know, I'm gonna just go ahead and take care of Zinx. I'm tired of her being close to my teammate, but she sees me and just instantly turns around and runs, because she knows what's about to happen. We miss out on that kill, but we are able to put a little pressure in this safe lane. Now, the next few minutes or so are pretty boring, so I've kind of taken them out. I'm currently 6-4 and 2. I did get caught out another time, but our team is fully fed, and we have 2 late game heroes. That's the main reason this match has lasted so long. But if you see here, Kallari's fully fed now, and she's just doing insane amount of damage, especially with that attack speed. And so this is really kind of the beginning of the end. We go on just a tear right here down this mid lane and get, I want to say, 2 or 3 kills. And, you know, at this point of the ADCs, or, you know, I guess you wouldn't really consider Kallari an ADC, but, you know, she's kind of built that same way with that. She's a very late game hero with tons and tons of damage. Once she gets fed and, you know, our Seraph gets fed, it's really kind of game over. And so we're able to just do tons of damage. Now, I do wait for Seraph to get out of her immune to ult her, but I said, hey, I'm not going to waste my ult since we're going to destroy her anyways. I was able to hold on to that ult, and, you know, that's just for what's coming up next. We melt that Kallari. Unfortunately, Seraph goes down there due to that phase ult, but hey, we're still able to do tons and tons of work in this mid lane. We've got 3 heroes down, and it's kind of time to go for Prime or go for an objective or something along those lines. Now, I do have Prime. I ended up having to defend our safe lane, but I'm going to head back down mid lane, and we're going to make kind of our final push here. Now, I was not expecting to be ganked in this mid lane, but sure enough, Chimera and Seraph show up out of nowhere, and this is the engagement I'm talking about. You see, I was almost able to take out both of those heroes, and unfortunately, Seraph immuned my ultimate, which I was hoping to be able to wait long enough to get, you know, the damage on her, but I went ahead and used it too early because I was worried about dying, and, you know, hey, I might get lucky. But I ended up going down, but if you saw there, Kallari was able to ult in and take both those out, and that was honestly one hit for me, you know, a knock up and my burst damage, and Kallari's ult was able to take someone out, and then her crippling dagger was able to take out the other person. So I'm really kind of under the impression that, you know, ADCs, if you have a good team that's communicating well, you might be able to get by without having ADCs and just run burst casters. Of course, you still want to have a tank and a support or something along those lines. You know, you need a frontliner, but you might be able to get away with not having an ADC because, as you see there, we're 30 minutes in. I'm able to almost melt their jungler and their ADC with one ability. Well, we do end up making our final push and the game's kind of over. I head into off lane, just, I know I'm in communications with our support and our Greystone, so I know they're either going to win or end the game, or they're going to safely get out. And I'm just going to head into this lane so nothing major happens. But as this video wraps up, I'd just like to say this is a great deck. Of course, the more I play, the more I'll, find kind of more comfortable cards or better options. But if you're struggling with your caster, this is an amazing deck, and I've had a lot of success with it. Well, thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, show me some love. Leave me a comment, think about subscribing, and as always, I'll see y'all in the next video.